name is Manny, and I'll be your trainer for today's session, how to import your volunteer registrations into your database. As a reminder, we're recording today's session and will be available for viewing in about 2 to 3 days on the website. You can find these recorded sessions by heading to arreva.com, selecting services in the main menu, and then selecting Arreva Academy from the dropdown. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So as I was saying, we are going to go through importing in, kind of matching in your guys' volunteer registrations from the forms that we set up in our other Arreva Academy. So just to quickly review the forms, one of the registrations is going to be coming from a general sign-up form, which is just a volunteer saying, hey, I'm just interested in signing up for your organization. Here's some things I'm interested in. It's not for a specific time slot or job, but they'll go in with, of course, some of these parameter values set, and specifically the one we're going to be looking at is this, are you a high school student? Being able to search on that field and, pull them up into our listing format so we can either reach out, send them an invite, and, get them going on one of our scheduled jobs. The other we're going to be taking a look at is going to be a summer camp tutor sign up. We have two individuals who have signed up for those job slots, and they have signed up and said, I am going to be a summer camp tutor on these specific days. So we'll get those imported in. You guys can see how they get scheduled and how they look directly in the volunteer manager as being a scheduled volunteer. All right, so within the database side, when you log in, you will notice in the bottom left-hand side, you'll have a V3, just showing you, how many volunteers that have signed up on any of your guys' volunteer forms. Like I said, 2 of them are going to be from the scheduled job, 1 from just a general volunteer sign up, which is great. So to get to those and start getting those, matched in and imported into your system, you just simply click on online transactions. Under online transactions here, you're going to just click the volunteer tab, and right under volunteer, you can see our 3 volunteers that we have signed up right now. So we can move all of them through the process at once, which is great. And we can do that by just simply checking all 3 names and then simply going and saying automatic match. As soon as we say automatic match, the first thing that pops up is just a matching criteria screen. This is just informational, showing you, hey, these are what we look at to match this individual to see if they exist in your database. If they do not exist, maybe they never donated, never signed up for a volunteer, never came to an event, then there'll be a no match and it, first time donor, first time volunteer, and we'll be creating a brand new entity for them. So we just say okay here, and right away you can see we have we have 0 match records. We have a partial match, which is basically just saying, the system is saying it's too close to tell. And then we have a no match record, which is great. So we just simply hit OK here. And once we do, we're going to go look in each of those respective buckets. So we will start with the no match side, nice and easy. Sal, Timmy have never signed up for anything in our systems. Great. So when we checkbox both their names here on the left, now we can just go ahead and simply say import. Once we say import, it is going to create a brand new entity for them. So a new household for Sal, a new household for Timmy, as they've never done anything with our org before. As well, if they are signed up for a scheduled job, the schedule will be created instantly. If they just signed up on the general form, then of course any values they selected will be attached to their record. Like, hey, are you a high school student? What high school you attended? And all those great questions we can ask. So we just simply say okay there, and bam, we got our 2 imported records for those. For the partial match, we just simply click on that, and on the left-hand side, you will see that we have the partial matches that are in the system, and we just select on the partial match on the left, and the potential match will show up on the right. Scottie Pippen, this is the same Scottie Pippen, so absolutely great. So we're just going to go ahead and check it on the right and then say match. If this was a new Scottie, completely new person, that's absolutely fine as well. We can just checkbox his name and we can say import and import a brand new household record for this new Scottie. In this instance, we know it's the same person, so we're just going to highlight both of them and say matched. When we do that on the partial match, it will move Scottie's record over to the match column now. This match column, if you guys do get a direct match, will end up directly in this bucket, just like we're looking at here. You simply highlight or check the record, and then here we can just go ahead and simply say create schedules. Once we say create schedules, bam, there we go. We have all 3 of our records that we moved in. So just remember, when you're going through the process, it starts at the new transaction side. You can highlight all records, say automatic match, and then it is very, very important to go through each of the other buckets just to make sure that, you move through any other transactions that are sit-in. You saw in the partial match, we have a few sit-ins, so somebody left those there. Ideally, I could go ahead and move them through, but we'll leave them for now. All right, so now what we're going to go ahead and do is take a look at where these records land within the database, which is truly the most important. So the first one we're going to look at is when we head under Volunteer Manager. When we select Volunteer Manager, we can go right under Volunteer, and the main thing we're going to be doing is we have a search already set in my Volunteer Manager for high school student yes. So that is our UDF question, just to show you, that's our one at the bottom there. And it's already set to yes, which that filter will stay for me and I'll never have to change it. And right away, when I open up the Volunteer Manager, bam, I get a list of everybody who is a high school student yes. I have their phone number, their name, and their email address right away. As I scroll through, I can see other additional information as well. There's some of the UDFs that are answered, so high school student, yes, as well as the high school they attended. Total hours worked, year-to-date hours worked. So if they've worked before in the past, it'll show all that as well on the volunteer side here. So really nice. That's from your general form signups. Once they're in your system, their record is marked as is a volunteer. And then from there, you guys can do any type of filtration and pulling them within a list. If you need to export this list, always remember you have the export option in the top right, and then you can simply export these records, get them to an Excel, and review them from there. So that is for our general match side of things, which again, great. They just showed interest. They kind of mark some tags that they're interested in. So you can see, Sal is interested in athletics and bookkeeping. Great. He can work at location 1. Wonderful. And then we get his, high school student questions right away. So now for the scheduled jobs, those guys signed up for a specific job that was happening. It was a summer camp tutor from 1 to 3 o'clock on Saturday. So fantastic. When we import those in, we take a look at them right under schedule. And here we can see we have Timmy. And one of them didn't come in, that's okay. And here we can see we have Timmy Hardo, who signed up to be a summer camp tutor on one record that we imported in. So with that being said, you'll see that he is not a worked record yet. So he signed up for the job isn't till 1:30. Great, it's going to start at 1 o'clock, and at 4 we have a scheduled time of 3 hours worked, and right now his status is just blank, which is great. So day of, when he comes in, works his job, wonderful. We can come in as a volunteer coordinator and immediately mark this individual as worked if we need to. So we simply check his record, we can say marked as worked, and immediately his record will then change to worked. So fantastic there. Now that will be updated on his record for 3 hours worked for that day. If we go and look and pull him in the volunteer list we were looking at, last date worked would be 1/30/2021. Amount of hours worked would be 3 hours. So it all reflect perfectly. All we had to do was just mark him as worked. Now you also have some other nice options such as mark as no show and cancel and all that great stuff, depending if they do not show up or if they cancel on you, which is great. The other very nice thing is adjusting the actual start date and start and end time, or start time and end time, sorry. And that is great because maybe Timmy showed up an hour early. Maybe he worked an extra 2 hours, or maybe he only worked 2 hours instead of 3. This way, from a volunteer coordinator standpoint, you can say, you know what? Yep, he actually worked an extra half an hour. Great. And immediately you can see the hours worked immediately get reflected and updated per his record. So from there, we are good to go. Timmy is a worked individual in the system, and we have him sitting on our scheduled jobs ready to be reviewed. So that is our importing in from the volunteer forms. As I said, one general sign up, remember, will be under your volunteer. Their records will be marked as is a volunteer, if it's an existing record. If they're creating a brand new household entity, great, that's great. It'll create the whole new household entity, mark them as an active is a volunteer as well, and throw them in this bucket here that you guys would be able to filter, search by, and do all those great things you need to get them scheduled on certain jobs. For your scheduled jobs, just remember, as those get imported in, they will end up directly under the scheduled jobs for you guys to mark those individuals as worked, not worked, no show, and then of course kind of handle them with how you need to from there. All right, if you guys have any questions on the import process or anything else in the volunteer module, just simply let us know and we can always get connected. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you for the next Arreva Academy.